We're coming on the air with breaking news.
Well, Azriel Clary, she was one of
Azriel Clary.
Azriel Clary.
She's redefining the word survivor.
What up, y'all? What up? All right. So, y'all, we about to really get to the nitty-gritty of this case. No more speculation. No more people taking notes. No more people giving us half-ass information when the real information that really happened in court. No more of that. Robert Keller, myself, went in, invested in getting these transcripts. We got the one for Tuesday. I think it's the first day of Geronda, or the second day. We about to find out. We're gonna read everything that's in there, exactly what happened, word for word. I do not give any other channels permission to copy or take this information that we about to put out here. Y'all gonna have to put it out yourself, y'all. This stuff is not cheap at all, as y'all have heard Diva talk about it. But Robert Keller, if y'all look at the bottom, his Cash App is at the bottom. My Cash App at the bottom. If y'all want to be a blessing, help out, pitch in, whatever is cool, whatever y'all seeing. Robert Keller put more money into it, way more than I did. So if y'all can bless that brother's Cash App, that'll be great. But we doing this. Don't feel obligated to. Don't feel obligated, but just know that this stuff do cost, as y'all already know. But this is what we here for, okay? So let me see who up in here, then we're gonna get rolling, y'all. Tasha, hey, how you doing? Indigo, what's going on? West Coast Bellis in the building. Let me see. Black Girl Beauty. Hey. Karen J. Hey. Rockin' with the Truth. What it do, Miss Angie? Oh, yeah, and that's another thing. So, Miss Angie got it. I got it. Diva got it. So, y'all know what I do. I go on. I'm not gonna read. I can't read everything, so we're gonna have to split this thing up. So y'all know I go on. Then Miss Angie come on to do her thing or break down the stuff in the legal form, and Diva do her own thing. But either way, we're gonna make sure that y'all getting the information. So we ain't gotta have nobody in the courtroom writing down half truths and only writing down the stuff that sound good for R. Kelly. No, y'all gonna know exactly what's going on, what was said, and all that. Truth Strong, what's going on? Yada! What up, Yada? Thank you for my bear. I appreciate you. Thank you. Let me see. Who else we got up in here? Keller! What up, bro? Thank you, man. Thank you, brother. We appreciate you, man. Once again, y'all, it's Cash App at the bottom if y'all can see it. It's kind of hard to see in there. Let me put it in white. See if that's easier for y'all to read. There we go. Yes, if y'all could, hit that brother's Cash App. Boom, boom, boom. It is $ Robert Keller 83. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Let me see who else up in here. Granny, what's going on? What's going on? I'm a queen. How you doing? How you doing? Boom, boom. Okay, y'all. We about Miss Lynn. How you doing? Welcome in. Welcome in. Service P. What up? Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you very much, Purple. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can we help so we can get a copy as well? Indeed. I don't see no. Holla. I don't think. Of course, I don't see that. I don't see if that's why that will be an issue. That wouldn't be an issue. Indeed. Let me see. Wings. What's going on? Okay, y'all. So let's get straight to this. This way it's gonna get real for everybody. Real. So R. Kelly, you gotta go away, buddy. All right. So let's get it. First page. Here we go. All right. This here is United States District Court, Eastern District of New York. United States versus Robert Sylvester Kelly. This was Thursday, August 19th, 9:30 a.m. Transcript of criminal calls for jury trial before the Honorable Ann M. Donnelly, United States District Judge. Appearances from the government was by Jacqueline M. Kasulis, Acting United States Attorney, Eastern District of New York. Y'all see all the information there. Elizabeth Geddes, Nadia Shahida, Maria E. Cruz Melendez, and also for the defense, it was Mr. Canick and Devereaux Canick. Those folks. Okay? Let's get straight to the second page. Also, there was Nicole Blank Becker, the law office of Thomas A. Farinella, and also Scholar, the Scholar law firm, Calvin Harold Scholar. Okay? If y'all could please hit the like button on the way in, even if you don't like this channel, I think that you'll be able to appreciate seeing this information for free and not having to put in on it. So I'd appreciate if you could at least hit the like button just to say, thanks, nigga. Just something. You know what I'm saying? We'd appreciate it. All right. Here we go. Says here, proceedings in open court. Jury not present. Defendant entered the courtroom. That's when R. Kelly came in. The courtroom deputy. All rise. Judge Ann Donnelly entered the courtroom. The court. Everybody can have a seat. Okay, just before we begin, I have just been kind of keeping in touch with our epidemiologist. And I know everyone is vaccinated. But I think if you're not talking, let's all stay masked. Just why borrow trouble? So I think if someone doesn't have a mask, we have them. But I think that's what we'll do unless you're speaking. And I don't think there's any need to tell the jury that. The second thing is, let me just check one thing out with our court reporter. She pauses. Then the court says the other thing. I guess there's been a request for transcripts. I don't think there was anything that can't be released in those from yesterday. So, and obviously, that will include the sidebar conferences, but I think it's fine. So, as far as yesterday's transcript, I think it can go as is. And then I think just as a day-by-day basis, I am going to ask both sides just to be aware that we will also take a look at it, but we should be aware if there's anything. Hold on. We should be that can't be public. Okay. All right. All right. Anything else before we bring in the jury? We'll bring in the witness and then bring in the jury. Ms. Geddes, Your Honor, the government has a couple of housekeeping matters, which could raise now, or perhaps that we could raise now, or perhaps at lunch break, depending on what works for the court. The court, okay, let's get the show on the road if they don't have to be raised right now. Anything else? Mr. Koenig. Yes, Your Honor. Yesterday, during the direct examination of this witness, the government elicited her full name, and I just want to know whether or not we are still operating as a first name only with this particular witness. Ms. Geddes said, we did not request that she testify using her first name only, so you can refer to her by her first and last name. Mr. Koenig. Okay, thank you. The court, anything else? All right, let's get the witness. Pause. Witness enters and resumes the stand. Here we go. All right. Proceedings. The court. All right. Let's get the jury. Ms. Geddes. Your Honor, can the witness take off her mask? The court. Can I just see counsel at the side? We don't need the court reporter. I just want to ask you a question. Sidebar held with the court and counsel only outside of the hearing of the jury and the court reporter. The courtroom deputy. All rise. The jury enters. The courtroom deputy. You may be seated. The court. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I see you're prepared for temperature. I don't think it's that bad today. But anyway, just a couple of things before we start. I think I told you when we begun the jury selection that you're keeping in touch with the epidemiologist and all of that. I've just asked all of the participants, including me, to wear a mask if they're not speaking. Nothing's happened. Nobody's gotten infected or anything like that. But I just think that it's better to be safe than sorry. So I am going to keep in touch with the experts just to make sure that we're keeping everything as safe and as healthy as possible. So that's what we're doing. We're going to continue with the direct examination of the witness. Okay, let's see. All right, Ms. Geddes says, go ahead, Ms. Geddes. Ms. Geddes says, thank you, the court. First, I think our court needs to remind our witness. The courtroom deputy. You're reminded that you're still under oath. The witness says, yes, okay. All right. Here we go. So now we have Geronda Johnson Pace, called as a witness by the government. Having been previously duly sworn affirmed by the courtroom deputy, we examined and testified further as follows. Direct examination including by Ms. Geddes. Good morning. Yesterday during your direct examination, you testified about all the different devices that the defendant used to record you. Do you recall that? Geronda says, yes. Question. What, if anything specifically, do you recall that the defendant recording using the video camera on top of a tripod? I think you testified earlier that it was a Canon camera. Is that correct? Geronda said, yes. Another question. What do you recall the defendant using that particular device? Ooh. Geronda. He recorded us having sexual intercourse. Question. While you are engaging in sexual activity with the defendant, what, if anything, did the defendant request that you wear during these encounters? Geronda says, during those encounters, he wanted me to put my hair up in pigtails and dress like a little Girl Scout. All right. Question from the government. Yesterday, you also referred the cabin, one of the recording studios in the defendant's residence. Is that correct? Geronda said, yes. Another question. Can you describe how the cabin appeared? Geronda said, it's a recording studio. You know, it looks like a log cabin. So the inside of the room, it was just, logs for like the walls and everything. Government says, you also testified about documents and a camera. You testified about documents and a cell phone and a t-shirt that you picked up from your lawyer, Fish. Do you recall that? Geronda says, yes. Government says, how were the documents? How did you pick up the documents? And when you picked up the shirt and the cell phone, how were the documents packaged? Geronda said, they were in a box. Okay, and the government said, and then Geronda said, everything in a box, and he handed me the box. Government says, and were the papers, physical papers that you picked up? Geronda said, it was a flash drive. Government said, containing scans of those documents? Geronda said, yes. Ms. Geddes said, Your Honor, may I publish government? May I publish government exhibit 210P, which is already in evidence? The court says, yes. By Ms. Geddes. Government's question. Directing your attention to government exhibit 210P, which is shown on the screen in front of you. What was the telephone number for the cellular telephone that you identified yesterday, which was in evidence as government exhibit 210? This is the number. And how is it that you would arrange times to go to the defendant's residence? It will be through phone calls. The government said, including using this telephone? Yes, is what Geronda said. I am showing government exhibit 210, which is also in evidence. Exhibit published. Question. What is shown in 210E? Geronda said, a picture of me. Government said, and approximately when was that picture taken? Geronda said, it was taken probably around the summertime 2009. Ms. Geddes said, and I am showing now 210M exhibit published, which was shown in 210M. All right, let's move on. Another photo of me. Government said, well, what are you wearing? Geronda said, I am wearing some blue jeans and an Aeropostale t-shirt. The government said, is that the same brand of t-shirts as the one that you identified yesterday as using the last time that you were at the defendant's residence? Geronda said, yes, it's actually the same brand. The government said, so it's fair to say it's a different t-shirt though. Geronda said, yes, it is. Ms. Geddes said, I am showing the witness. I am showing everyone government exhibit 210 AB. This is also in evidence. Then Ms. Geddes said, what is shown in 210 AB? Geronda said, it's a photo of me. The government said, and I want to direct your attention to the tattoo that is on your body shown in the photograph. Do you see that? Geronda said, yes, I do. Government said, what is that a tattoo of? Geronda said, it's a tattoo of Rob's name. Oh, wow. Government said, and does that say Rob, R-O-B? Geronda said, yes, it does. And then she said, and what again happened to that tattoo? Let's keep going. All right. She said, I covenanted with the black heart. Government said, oh, so you filled it in. Geronda said, yes. Government said, well, I am showing that what's in evidence as Government Exhibit 210 AA. Exhibit published. Government said, what is shown in 210 AA is, and then Geronda said, it's a photo of Dominique. Question. And this was a photo that was your cellular telephone? Geronda said, yes, it is. Government said, who took this photograph? Geronda said, Dominique took the photograph. Took that photograph. Government said, how did you obtain it? Geronda said, she sent it to me. Ms. Geddes said, I am showing what's in evidence as Government Exhibit 210. Exhibit published. Ms. Geddes said, what is shown in Government Exhibit 210? Geronda said, Rob's contact information. And Geronda, the government said, what is a contact that was saved on your cellular telephone in evidence? Hold on. Was this a contact that was saved on your cellular telephone in evidence as Government Exhibit 210? Geronda said, yes, it is. The government said, and when you say Rob, who are you referring to? Geronda said, the defendant. Okay. Okay, then she asked what was the phone number of the defendant. Ms. Geddes, I am showing what's in evidence as Government Exhibit 210. Question from the government. What is shown in Government Exhibit 210? Geronda said, these are my contacts. And then the question here from the government was, and there's one contact highlighted there. Do you recognize who that or what is that contact for? And then Geronda said, that's Rob's studio. And then the government said, and what was the telephone number for Rob's studio? And then she gave the phone number. All right. And then the government said, and just to be clear, when you say Rob, are you referring to the defendant? And then Geronda said, yes, I am. The government says, and was a contact that was saved on your telephone, government, and was that a contact that was saved in your telephone, Government Exhibit 210? Geronda said, yes, it is. Mr. Koenig says, Your Honor, can I just have an exhibit number before we go? The court said, can you have the exhibit number again? Ms. Geddes, oh yes, it's 210Z, as in zebra. The court said, all right. Then Ms. Geddes says, I'm showing what's in evidence as Government Exhibit 210. Then Ms. Geddes said, well, what is shown in 210, why? Geronda said, my contact. The witness said, my mic died. So I guess her mic died. Ms. Geddes said, we lost our mic. Pause. All right. The government said, what is shown in Government Exhibit 210? Geronda said, my contacts. The government said, and what contact is highlighted there? And then Geronda said, that's my mom's phone number. And then the government said, and was that a contact saved in your telephone in the Government Exhibit 210? Geronda said, yes, it was. Government says, does your mother still have that telephone number? Geronda said, no, she does not. So the government said, what is the telephone number? And then she gave the phone number. Ms. Geddes said, I am showing that in evidence as Government Exhibit 210. The exhibit published. What's shown in 210X? Geronda said, my contacts. Okay, hold on. Sorry, y'all. Okay. And then the government said, well, whose phone number is highlighted in red? Geronda said, Kiana's. Government said, is Kiana the friend that you testified first when you went to the defendant's house back in 2009 with? Geronda said, yes. And was a contact that was saved in government, and was that the contact that was saved in government exhibit 210? Geronda said, yes. And then the government said, well, what is Kiana's phone number? What was Kiana's number back then? And then she gave a phone number. And then Ms. Geddes said, I am showing what's in evidence as government exhibit 210V, as in Victor. And Ms. Geddes said, what is shown in 210V? Geronda said, my contacts. The government said, whose contact is highlighted? Geronda said, Dominique's. The government said, and how is Dominique referred to in your phone? Dominique said, we call her Domo. D-O-M-O? Geronda said, yes. Government said, is that a nickname for her? Geronda said, yes, it is. Government said, and again, was that a contact that was saved in your telephone you had in 2009 and 2010? Geronda said, yes, it is. The government said, well, what was Dominique's phone number back then? And then she gave the number. The government said, and just to be clear, you referred to a photograph of Dominique just a few minutes ago, as well as this contact. Is this the contact? Is this the Dominique that was shown yesterday in the government exhibit 69, who you identified as Dominique? Geronda said, yes. Ms. Geddes said, I am showing the witness what's in evidence as government exhibit 210U. And Ms. Geddes showed him, and she asked, what is shown in 210U? Geronda said, a phone call. The government said, and was this a phone call that you can tell whether this was a phone call you sent or received, and you made or received? Let me see. And then she said, Geronda said, no, I cannot. The government said, okay, who was the phone call with? Geronda said, Rob. And then the government said, the defendant? Geronda said, yes. And then the government said, and what phone number was used to connect to? Okay, y'all, so that's where my pages stop. I'm going to go ahead and continue to read, but I don't have those pages up. But I'm going to continue to read it straight from here. So give me one moment here. Let me pull this down. Let me go into my email. And here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Hold on, let me pull it up for y'all. Let me read this. Here we go. Okay, so let me get to this as one. I got the 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 213, 216 in a box. Hold on, y'all. 210. Rob Geddes, the defendant. Okay. Contacts. Okay, hold on. Right, yes, it was. I'm showing evidence. 210X. Okay, the phone number of Kiana's in red. Okay, Ms. Geddes was showing witness. Okay, phone call defendant. Okay, so here we go, y'all. So I'm going to read this to y'all, kind of like what I'm doing here. So then, let me see. And it says, the government says, and was this a phone call that you can tell whether it was a phone call that you sent or received, you made or received? And Geronda said, no, I cannot. The government said, okay, well, who was the phone call with? Geronda said, Rob. The government said, the defendant? Geronda said, yes. And what was the telephone number that was used to connect to the defendant? Geronda gave the phone number. And then the government said, what was the date of that telephone call? Geronda said January 23rd. The government said, do you know what year that would have been? Geronda said 2010. The government said, what time? Geronda said at 1:36 p.m. The government said, and how long did the telephone call last? Geronda said 57 seconds. The government said, I am showing what's in evidence as Government Exhibit 210. And then the government said, what's shown in 210T? Geronda said, another phone log. The government said, and who is in this communication with? The government, and then Geronda said, Rob. The government said, the defendant? Geronda said, yes. The government said, and what is the date of this communication? Geronda said, January 23rd. The government said, what time? Geronda said, it was at 2:51 p.m. The government said, and again, what year was that? What year that was of January 23rd? Geronda said 2010. The government said, how long did that phone call last? Geronda said 50 seconds. Hold on, y'all. Let me make sure that y'all can hear me. Hold on. Oh, one moment. We're going to continue reading this. Hold on. I said 2000. Okay, there we go. Live chat. Okay, cool. I see y'all. Okay, perfect. Okay, so then she said another phone call. How long was the communication with Rob? Then the government said, what was the date on this call? Geronda said January 23rd. The government said, same date as the prior telephone calls with the defendant? Geronda said, yes. Then the government said, what time? Geronda said 4:47 p.m. And the government said, okay, how long was that call? Geronda said 56. What is up with all these 50-second freaking phone calls? What is up with him? Like, he just like gets on, say what he got to say, and then gets off. That's 50 seconds, 56 seconds, 52 seconds, 51 seconds. That's weird. Okay, I'm showing what's in evidence as 210R. So Ms. Geddes said to Geronda, what is shown in 210R? Geronda said another phone log. The government said, and who is that telephone call with? Geronda said, Rob. The government said, the defendant? Geronda, yes. The government, what date? Geronda said, January 23rd. Yeah, and the government said, and of 2010? Geronda said, yes. The government said, and how long did this phone call last? Geronda said 37 seconds. The government said, all right, and what time? Geronda said 5:03. Ms. Geddes said, and finally, I am showing in Government Exhibit 210, exhibit published. What is, the government said, what is 210O? Geronda said, it's a text message. The government said, and who is that text message with? Geronda said, it's a text message from Rob. And then the government said, well, and what was the telephone number of it? I'm not going to give y'all the phone number. Geronda said, and what does the text message say? I'm sorry, the government says, and what does the text message say? Geronda said, it says, please call. Government said, and was the text message that was, and was this the text message that was sent to your phone? Government Exhibit 210? Geronda said, yes. Government said, and what was the date on this text message? Geronda said, February 3rd of 2010. Government said, at what time? Geronda said, 10:02 p.m. Government said, and how can you tell that that's a message from Rob? Geronda said, because it says from. And then it has his phone number, and it says Rob. Ms. Geddes said, no further questions for this witness. The court says, okay, cross-examination. Here we go, y'all. Here we go. All right. Here goes Mr. Canick. Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, may I move to the podium? May I move the podium over here so I can have access to the microphone? The court says, you have it over there. Yes. Canick says, okay, it's hidden. The court says, and I'm going to keep nagging you to use the microphone. Pause. Cross-examination. Mr. Canick. Here goes Mr. Canick. Says, now you just testified about a number of telephone communications between you and Rob. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Canick said, okay, now those calls, according to you and the records, how many were they? Geronda said, I don't recall. Canick said, would 5 sound correct? Geronda said, 5 sounds about correct. Canick said, and those calls were made on the same day? January 23rd, 2010, am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Canick said, and how long apart were they made? Geronda said, I don't recall. Canick said, now, when you made those calls and when the calls were made to you, do you recall whether or not you reached an individual or whether or not you got an answering service? Geronda said, we talked on the phone. Canick said, now the calls. You had conversations and the longest one, hold a second. So the longest conversation was 57 seconds. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Canick said, and you had 5 conversations wherein the longest one was 57 seconds. Geronda said, yes. Canick said, and then you had a text message. Geronda said, yes. Canick said, now, when was it that you told, it says withdrawn, you told the jury yesterday that you had a relationship with Rob for about 6 months. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Canick said, and you said that the relationship started in May of 2009. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Canick said, and you said it terminated in January of 2010. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Canick said, now what date did it terminate in January 2010? Geronda said, look, I don't recall what exact date. Canick said, but you do recall that you told the jury yesterday that on that particular day that Rob spat on you. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Canick said, and he slapped you in your face. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Canick said, and he made you wipe semen. Oh, fucking A. Damn. And he made you wipe semen off your face with a cloth. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's incorrect. Canick said, no. No? You didn't wipe semen off your face with a t-shirt? Geronda said, he didn't make me wipe it off with the t-shirt. He said, I did. Canick said, you did. But all of this happened the last time you saw him in a romantic relationship. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. All right, hold on. Canick said, and it's your testimony that you have no recollection as to when that date was. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Canick said, but you recall this telephone number from 10 years ago. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Canick said, didn't recall your mom's. Am I correct? Geronda said, I do recall my mom's. Canick said, no. Yesterday when you were asked on the witness stand, you testified and told the jury that you did not recall your mother's testimony. Your mother's telephone number. Geronda said, that's incorrect. Canick said, you didn't recall your own telephone number. Is that correct? Geronda said, that is correct. The court said, Mr. Canick, can I see you with counsel at the side? And I don't need the reporter, so they did another sidebar, y'all. All right. So the court said, so Canick, just do your best. Mr. Canick said, yes, Your Honor. The court said, to stay tethered. Ms. Geddes said, we do, Your Honor. We have it. The court said, oh, you do? Mr. Canick said, may I have the last question read back, question and answer. The court said, can you hear? Oh shit. The court said, can you hear? I just want to make sure everyone can hear. I don't want to have to interrupt you again. Mr. Canick said, okay, hopefully this works. The court said, give it a shot. Record read back as requested by Mr. Canick. The government said, I'm sorry, not government, but Canick said, now, so according to you, there was a 50-second communication between you and Rob on January 23rd, 2010 at 2:51. Am I correct? Geronda said yes. Then Canick said, and according to you, there was a communication between you and Rob on January 23rd, 2010 for 57 seconds. Geronda said yes. Canick said at 1:36 p.m. Geronda said yes. Canick said, and again, another telephone communication on January 23rd at 4:47 p.m., which was 56 seconds. Geronda said yes. Canick said, and there's another one that does not, they say he acted withdrawn. Now, you were in fact stalking him, weren't you? Whoa. Geronda said, no. Canick said, you weren't stalking him? Geronda said, I was not. Canick said, now, these calls were made after you initiated a lawsuit against Robert. Am I correct? Geronda said, that is correct. Canick said, now when was your first lawsuit settled against Rob? Geronda said, I believe it was February 2010. Canick said, what date specifically in February 2010? Geronda said, I do not recall. Canick said, now going back to the testimony 210N, Government Exhibit 210N, Mr. Canick, could you? Ms. Geddes says, it is connected to your laptop. Pause. Mr. Canick, to speed up time, could you just post it? Ms. Geddes said, here you go. By Mr. Canick. Canick said, can you see 210N? Geronda said, no. The court said, are you connected to? Mr. Canick said, we were hoping that we were. The court said, can we use the government's... Ooh, I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. Can we use the government's? I'm sorry. The other thing we can do is take 10 minutes to try to fix it. I'd rather not. That was what the judge said. Mr. Canick said, I'd rather not as well. Exhibit was published by Mr. Canick. Canick said, do you see 210N? Geronda said, yes. Canick said, now you testified. You told us that was a contact of Rob that was stored in your phone. Geronda said, yes. Canick said, now, there's a photo there, right? Geronda said, yes, it is. Canick said, where'd you get that photo? Geronda said, that photo came off the internet. Canick said, he didn't give you a photo? Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Canick said, so you went to the internet, search, and got a picture from your phone? Geronda said, yes, I did. Mr. Canick said, you could take it down. You could take it down, please. By Mr. Canick. Hold on. Yes, I did. Mr. Canick said, you could take it down, please. And then, hold on. So this was Geronda. Geronda said, yes, I did. And then she said, Mr. Canick, you could take it down, please. by Mr. Canick. Then Canick said, now before coming and giving your testimony to the jury yesterday, how many meetings had you had with the government? Geronda said, I do not recall. Canick said, well, let's see if we can work it out. When was the last time you met with the government before coming in and giving testimony to the jury yesterday? Geronda said, Monday. Canick said, okay, and how long was that meeting? Geronda said, I do not recall. Canick said, well, it was was it 5 minutes? Geronda said, it was longer than 5 minutes. Canick said, was it longer than 30 minutes? Geronda said, yes, it was. Canick said, was it longer than an hour? Geronda said, yes, it was. Canick said, was it longer than 2 hours? Geronda said, yes, it was. Canick said, was it longer than 3 hours? Geronda said, yes. 4 hours? Geronda said, yes. 5 hours? Geronda said, yes. 6 hours? Geronda said, I'm not sure if it reached the 6-hour mark. Canick said, who was present at the meeting? Geronda said, several people were sitting at the table. Canick said, when you say several people sitting at the table, what table? Geronda said, this table, indicating right here. Ooh. Canick said, you're talking about the government's table? Geronda said, yes, I am. Canick said, specifically, who are those people? Geronda said, Ryan was present, Maria was present, Liz was present, and I don't remember your name, I'm sorry. She was present. Canick said she was present as well. Geronda said she was present as well. The court said, Miss Shahida. Geronda said yes. Then Mr. Canick said, and you know these two by first name, correct? Geronda said yes. Canick said, who else? Oh! Hold on. Oh, okay, I'm tripping. Geronda said Keith was present as well. Canick said, who's Keith? And then Geronda said, a part of the government team. Y'all, I was about to pass the hell out. Whitney D, you did a great job on your live. I watched it. Great job, sis. Great job. Great job. We just reading some of these transcripts. Y'all, I almost passed out right here on live. Okay, here we go. Who's Keith? Geronda said, a part of the government team. Canick said, who else? Geronda said, I don't recall if there was any more. Canick said, now, at that meeting you went over, you rehearsed your testimony. Am I correct? Geronda said, that is incorrect. Canick said, you didn't go over the questions that were asked by you, or asked of you by Miss Geddes? Geronda said, I did go over the questions, but I did not rehearse. Canick said, oh, so the very questions that were asked of you by Miss Geddes yesterday and this morning, you went over with them in her office at that meeting. Geronda said, that is correct. Geddes said, at that meeting, did you look at any documents? Geronda said, yes, I did. Canick said, what documents did you look at? Geronda said, the evidence that I presented. Canick said, the evidence that you presented? Geronda said, yes. And then the government, what's his name? Canick said, did you look at photographs? Geronda said, yes, I did. Canick said, did you listen to audios? Geronda said, no, I did not. Canick said, videos? Geronda said, no, I did not. Canick said, now, this was all done on Monday for about 6+ hours. Am I correct? Geronda said, I'm not sure if it made it to a 6-hour mark. Canick said, and when I say Monday, I'm talking about 3 or 4 days ago. The court said, well, today is Thursday. Mr. Cannon said, okay, let's back it up. 4 days ago. Geronda said, it was on Monday of this week. Cannon said, okay, before that, when was the last time you spoke with the government or met with the government? Geronda said, I do not recall. Cannon said, and you have no recollection as to how many times you met with the government? Geronda said, I do not. Cannon said, now you did meet with the government on prior occasions, am I correct? Geronda said, that is correct. Cannon said, before Monday? Geronda said, yes. Cannon said, and would it be fair to say that you met with them more than once? Am I correct? Geronda said, that is correct. Cannon said, more than once, am I correct? Geronda said, that would be correct. Cannon said, more than 3 times, am I correct? Geronda said, look, I'm not sure how many times it was. Cannon said, and when you met with them, you did the very same thing you went over your testimony. Am I correct? Geronda said, I did not go over my testimony. Cannon said, well, didn't they ask you the questions that you were asked of you yesterday and this morning? Geronda said, no, not at every meeting. No, not at every meeting. Cannon said, not at every meeting, but you didn't go there to have cocktails with them. What the hell? But you didn't go there to have cocktails with them. Am I correct? Geronda said, that is correct. Cannon said, you didn't have lunch with them, correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Cannon said, you went there to prepare to give your testimony. Am I correct? Geronda said, that is correct. Cannon said, and each time you went there were a number of government officials in the room taking notes. Am I correct? Geronda said, that is correct. Cannon said, now you've also had interviews regarding your story as to what you say happened here. Am I correct? Geronda said, that is correct. Cannon said, how many? Geronda said, look, I'm unsure of how many interviews it was. Cannon said, was it more than one? Geronda said, it was more than one. Cannon said, more than 2. Geronda said, yes, it was more than 2. Cannon said, more than 3. Geronda said, and I'm not sure how many it was. And then Cannon said, can you approximate? Ms. Geddes, objection. The court said, well, do you have any idea how many it was? Geronda said, I do not. The court said, but was it more than 2? But it was more than 2, right? Geronda said, yes, it was. The court said, all right, go ahead. Mr. Cannon said, and you've done YouTube postings. Oh, shit. Other side, I've told y'all they be looking at this YouTube stuff. And you've done YouTube postings. Geronda said, 1 YouTube posting, yes. Cannon said, when did you do that? Geronda said, that was in 2017. Cannon said, and when did you have your first television interview? The same year in 2017. And the second one? Geronda said, that I'm unsure of. Cannon said, and did you do any Instagram postings? Geronda said, yes, I did. Cannon said, how many? Geronda said, look, I'm not sure how many Instagram posts I did. Cannon said, more than 1, though. Geronda said, yes, it was more than 1. Cannon said, now, when you gave the television interview, were you compensated? Geronda said, no, I was not. Cannon said, YouTube, any compensation there? Geronda said, no. Cannon said, Instagram, any compensation there? Geronda said, no. Cannon said, but you wrote a book. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes, I did. Cannon said, and any compensation for the book? Geronda said, yes. Cannon said, how much was the compensation for the book? Geronda said, I don't recall the exact number. Koenig said, well, give me a not exact number. Geronda said, it could be more than 25,000. Koenig said, more than 100,000? Geronda said, less than 100,000. Koenig said, so it would be fair to say more than 25, but less than 100. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, and when was it that you received those monies? Geronda said, it happened over a period of months. Koenig said, and who was it that you got it from? Geronda said, Amazon. Koenig said, and did you have an agent? Geronda said, no, it was a self-published book. Koenig said, self-published book? Okay. And what you wrote in the book, was it accurate? It was accurate, am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Okay. Let's keep it going. The court said, I'm sorry, I just couldn't hear what you said. Koenig said, accurate. Geronda said, yes, it was. Koenig said, well, embellishment. No embellishment? Geronda said, no. Koenig said, okay, now I want to go over your testimony from yesterday. You testified and told us that you testified and told us that you first had sexual contact with Robert when you were 16 years old. Do you remember telling us that? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, and incidentally, before you came, when you came here yesterday, you gave testimony to the jury that you swore to tell the truth. Am I correct? Geronda said, that is correct. Koenig said, and you said that in the initial encounter was in May of 2009. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, and you said that you were 16 years old at that time. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. And Koenig said, and you said that this relationship lasted for about 6 months. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, and I think you testified and told us that it terminated in January 2010. Am I correct? Geronda said, that is correct. Koenig said, but you testified here this morning that you don't know specifically what date it was terminated. Geronda said, that is correct. Koenig said, but you testified here this morning. Okay, you don't know what day it was terminated. Okay, that's correct. Koenig said, now you told us yesterday that you had an encounter with Robert in 2008. Do you remember telling us that? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, and you told us that the encounter came about on April 1st of 2008. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, now, in fact, you told us it was April Fool's Day. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, now you testified and told the jury that at a time of that encounter, you were 14 years old. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, so let's try to do the math here. You met him April 1st, 2008. Am I correct so far? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, and you are 14 years old. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, and then you had your sexual encounter with him in May of 2010. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, 2010 or 2009? Geronda said, 2009. Koenig said, okay. See, so in May of 2009, you had your encounter with him. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. And you told the jury that you were 16 years old at that time. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Kenneth said, now would you agree with me that from May 1st, 2008 to, April 1st, 2008 to May 2009 is the 1 year and 1 month. Am I correct? Geronda said, that is correct. Kenneth said, but according to you, you were 14 years old on May 1st. Geronda said April. Kenneth said 2008. Geronda said April 1st. Kenneth said April 1st of 2008. And you were 16 in May of 2009. Geronda said my birthday is April 19th. Kenneth said, I didn't ask you when your birthday was. I said, you told us yesterday that on April 1st of 2008, when you met Rob, that you were 14 years old. Geronda said, yes. Kenneth said, that's April 1st of 2008. Geronda said, yes. Kenneth said, your sexual encounter with Rob, a year and a month later, you were 16 years old. Geronda said, yes. Kenneth said, okay, so you advanced 2 years in that year and a month. Geronda said, that's incorrect. Kenneth said, okay, I know. Now, when you went to court in 2008 to support Rob, you were 14 years old. Geronda said, yes, I was. Kenneth said, but you told court officers that you were 19 years old. Geronda said, that is true. Kenneth said, you lied. Geronda said, I told them I was 18. Kenneth said, I beg your pardon? Geronda said, I told them I was 18. Kenneth said, either way you lied to them. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Kenneth said, and you lied to them for 3 months. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Kenneth said, and you presented identification to them verifying that. Age, am I correct? Geronda said, that's incorrect. Kenneth said, you didn't give them identification? Geronda said, I gave them my high school ID. I did not present anything that represented 18. Kenneth said, so you're telling us now that you gave the court officers your high school identification? Geronda said, yes, I did. Kenneth said, what high school were you attending? The court said, go ahead. Geronda said, at the time I was attending Shamburg High School. Kenneth said, what grade were you in? Geronda said, at the time I was a freshman. Kenneth said, and you stayed out of school for 3 months to attend that proceeding. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's incorrect. Kenneth said, didn't you testify that it was April 1st? Geronda said, yes, I did. Kenneth said, okay, now it lasted until June. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Kenneth said, and you went every day. Am I correct? Geronda said, I did not go every day. Kenneth said, how many days per week did you go? Geronda said, I went to some of the hearings so that I could, I went to some of the hearings, so that took some time in between. That wasn't every day. So I'm not sure how many days I went. Mr. Kenneth said, Your Honor, we're going to try to pull up another photograph that an investigator brought us. The court said, you don't have to explain where it came from, but does the government have it? Ms. Geddes said, we do not. Mr. Kenneth said, no, it's something we blank. The court said, that's okay. Do you want to come over to the side with the court reporter and we can discuss it? Mr. Kenneth says, yes. So this proves that The other side saying that the government holding on to stuff, but the defense be holding on to stuff too. So Dana J, I'm gonna get in your ass about that, bro. Yeah, we're gonna have a conversation about that. So they was holding on to stuff themselves. Let's move on. The following sidebar took place outside the hearing of the jury. Mr. Cannon, Your Honor, there's a photograph. There's 2 photographs, in fact, that we want to introduce into evidence. The court said, can I see them? Mr. Cannon said, actually, we're trying to get them. We have them on the phone. We have them on the computer, but investigators are trying to get a color photo of it. The court said, what is it? Mr. Cannon said, it's a picture of her, and she's at the court proceeding walking near the defendant, trying to grab him, reaching out to him. And when the other one is just a picture of her with a newspaper with his picture against her chest. The court said, do you have any objection? Ms. Giddens said, I have no objection. I just like to see them, but I have no objection. Mr. Cannon said, we need to get them. So I am going to ask for a break at this time. The court said, you can't ask about some other stuff and come back to it. Cannon said, hold on. The court said, you can't ask about some other stuff and come back to it. Mr. Cannon said, yeah, I can. The court said, I don't want her to have a baby on the stand, so I would really like to move this along. Cannon said, okay. The court said, yes, then I know you know this already, but you're really talking a lot about the trial in 2008. I don't think there's any reason. I'm just saying it's out there. Mr. Cannon said, it's out there. Ms. Geddes said, but I would just say part of what she was trying to explain, but couldn't because I've instructed her not to use the word trial. Is that there was a hearing on April 1st, 2008. Jury selection in the trial doesn't start until May. And so there's a period of weeks where she doesn't go. The court said, you can bring that out on redirect. Canning said, okay. Sidebar concluded. Okay. So, Geronda Pace, crossed by Mr. Canning. Mr. Canning says, may I, Your Honor? The court said, yes, go ahead. Mr. Canning says, okay, thank you. So, Canning says, now, at the court proceeding, you met someone and became very friendly with him. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. She said, with him. Geronda said, yes. The court said, and that person's name is Kayona Jones. Geronda said, yes. Canning said, you are no longer friendly with her. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Canning said, and that friendship terminated when? Geronda said, I don't recall. Canning said, and you testified that there came a point in time that you spoke to someone connected to Robert about your being there and being supportive, and you were promised a T-shirt or an autograph. Do you remember telling us that? Geronda said, an autograph, yes. Canning said, an autograph, both. And did that come to pass? Geronda said, the autograph did. Canning said, okay. And the autograph came to pass because basically you stood in front of his tour bus and would not move until you were given the autograph. Am I correct? Whoa. Geronda said, that's incorrect. Canning said, what did you do with the autograph? Geronda said, I kept the autograph. Canning said, where? Geronda said, I put it in my closet. It was in my closet for a while. Canning said, what was the autograph on? Geronda said it was on Kiana's bank statement. Koenig said, now you testified and told us there came a point in time where you were invited to a party at Rob's home. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, and you testified that you and Kiana were invited and you went. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, and you testified and told us that you took the train there. Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, and the train was a 2-hour ride. Geronda said, from my house to the suburbs, yes. Koenig said, and after you got to stop, where you got off on, it was a 10-minute walk. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, so in essence, to get from your home to this party took you 2 hours and 10 minutes by public transportation and walking the rest. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, and you testified that you got there and you saw security. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. That's incorrect. Geronda said, that's incorrect. Koenig said, well, what happened when you got there? Geronda said, Bubba came to the gate and let us in. Koenig said, now, when Bubba came to the gate, you didn't encounter security at the gate at all? Geronda said, no. Koenig said, did anyone ask you for your identification at that time? Geronda said, no. Koenig said, did anyone ask you to sign a non-disclosure agreement at that time? Geronda said, no. Koenig said, so you got there and you just got with Bubba. And then just basically Bubba took you back up to the party. Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, now you never told. There was never a situation where you were asked for identification and you told them that you have to come right back because you left your identification at your uncle's house. Geronda said, no. Koenig said, you never told them that, right? Geronda said, no. Koenig said, you are as truthful about as you are everything else. You testified about and told this jury today. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, now you got to the party. Koenig said, how much money did you pay to get the train out of there? Geronda said, it took about $15. Koenig said, and was that for a round trip or was that just a single fare? Geronda said, it was round trip both ways. Koenig said, and you testified and told us that you stayed at the party for about 30 minutes. Geronda said, less than 30 minutes. Koenig said, less than 30 minutes? So you took a 2-hour ride there, a 10-minute walk, went there to the party, stayed for less than 10 minutes. 30 minutes. And then you went back on your way? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, so in essence, you traveled 4 hours and 20 minutes for less than 30 minutes of partying. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, and you left because the music was too loud? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, now, you knew when you left home you were going to R. Kelly's party. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's incorrect. Koenig said, you didn't know you were going to R. Kelly's party? Geronda said, I did not. Koenig said, but you knew you were going to a party. Geronda said, no, I did not. Koenig said, and you were truthful about that. And you were truthful about as everything else that you told us about. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, now during this less than 30 minutes that you were at the party, did you see any other celebrities? Geronda said no. Koenig said, and how many folks were at the party? Geronda said, it's about 30 to 35 people. Koenig said, do you remember what time you got to the party? Geronda said, I do not. Koenig said, do you remember what time you left the party? Geronda said, I do not. Koenig said, do you remember what time you left your home? Geronda said, I do not. Koenig said, do you remember if you saw Robert at the party? Geronda said, I do. Koenig said, now when you saw Robert, did you subsequently have a conversation with him? Geronda said, I did have a conversation with him. Koenig said, did you initiate the conversation or did Robert? Geronda said, he did. Koenig said, he did. I want to go back to when you met Robert. You told him that you were 19 years old. Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, how did that come about? Geronda said, he asked me my age. Koenig said, you told him 19. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, so you lied. Geronda said, I did. Koenig said, just like you lied to the court officers. Geronda said, that is incorrect. Koenig said, when you were going to Robert's court appearance back in 2018, did you tell your mom you were going to court? Geronda said, no, I did not. Koenig said, where did you tell your mom you was going? Geronda said, I was supposed to be going to school. Koenig said, so you lied to her too. Geronda said, she didn't ask. Koenig said, and you didn't tell her. Geronda said, I did not. Koenig said, so we have a lie. So we have a lie to your mom, a lie to the corrections officer, a lie to Robert. Geddes said, objection, Your Honor. The court said, sustained as to form. Now, when you met Robert, when you went to Robert's party, you didn't expect loud music? Geronda said, I did not. The court said, before going to Robert's party, have you ever been to a party? Geronda said, I have. Koenig said, loud music at those parties? Geronda said, no. Ms. Geddes said, objection. Court said, overruled. Koenig said, there was no loud music at those parties? Geronda said, no. Koenig said, where were these parties attended? Hosted by African Americans? Wow. The court said, which parties are you talking about? Mr. Koenig said, let me just back up. The court said, okay. Koenig said, how many parties did you attend before going to Roberts? Geronda said, I don't recall. Koenig said, but you do recall going to parties? Geronda said, yes. And Koenig said, and were any of them hosted by African Americans? Ms. Geddes said, objection. Court said, sustained. Come on, Mr. Koenig, move along. Koenig said, you didn't hear loud music at any of those parties that you went to before. Geddes, objection. The court overruled. Did anyone play loud music at a party that you went to? Geronda said, no. Koenig said, now you went to the party and you left after about 30 minutes and you went home. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, do you recall what time you got home? Geronda said, I do not. Koenig said, and you were 16 years old when you went to this party? Geronda said, yes, I was. Koenig said, now you testified and told us earlier that you had an uncle who lived in the Olympia Fields area. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, what was his address? Geronda said, I don't recall the address. Canick said, what was his name? Geronda said, his name is Perry. Canick said, Perry. What's his last name? Geronda said, his last name is Marion. Canick said, Perry Marion. Geronda said, yes, that's correct. Hey, y'all, if y'all would please, if you don't mind, hit the cash out. Hit Robert Keller's cash out, $ Robert Keller 83. Mine is $ This Blessed House. This right here is information that no other channel has because they probably don't have the money to put into it. But we want the facts over here, word for word, so that's why we're giving it to y'all. Okay? Canick says, and before the night of the party, how many times have you been to his home? Geronda said, I hadn't. Canick said, you had not? Geronda said, no. Canick said, have you ever been to his home? Hold on. Hold the hell on. And before the night of the party, how many times have you been to his home? Geronda said, I hadn't. Canick said, you have not? Geronda said, no. Canick said, have you ever been to his home? Geronda said, I have. Canick said, when? Geronda said, the first time was in May of 2009. Canick said, May of 2009. The same month that you went to the party. Geronda said, yes. Canick said, was it before or after you attended the party? Geronda said, can you rephrase your question? The court. Before you rephrase your question, can you adjust your microphone? It's getting buried. Canick said, you testified and told us that you visited your uncle in May of 2009. Do you remember telling us that? Geronda said, that's incorrect. Canick said, may I have the last question before that one read back? The requested portion of the record was read back by the official court reporter. Canick said, when was it that you visited your uncle? Geronda said, I was visiting my uncle throughout the years. Canick said, a short while ago, I asked you before, I asked you, when is it that you visit your uncle? Do you remember me asking you that? Geronda said, I recall you. I thought you were talking about Rob when you asked me when was the first time I went to his home because you were speaking about a party. Judge Donnelly says the question was, do you remember? You can rephrase it. I thought the question was, do you remember the first time you said you had an uncle that lived nearby, right? Geronda said, yes. The court said, when did you first go to his house? That's the question. Geronda said, oh, I went to my uncle's house probably back in 2006. Canick said, and when was the first visit in 2006? How many other times? Hold on. Canick said, and since the first visit in 2006, how many other times have you visited your uncle? Geronda said, we used to go there yearly for celebrations. So since 2006, it was like every year for celebrations. Canick said, but you don't know his address? Geronda said, no, I do not. Canick said, you testified and told us yesterday by subsequent visits you had at Rob's home. Do you remember telling us about that subsequent to the party? Geronda said, yes. Canick said, and you testified and told us that someone by the name of Anthony picked you up from the metro station. Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, and that you know that this person that you identified as Anthony, did he introduce himself to you? Geronda said, yes, he did. Koenig said, so he spoke with you? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, he wasn't wearing a name tag or anything like that? Geronda said, no. Koenig said, you testified that he took you to Rob's home. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, you testified that when you arrived at Rob's home, basically you called him and let him know that you were there and that he told you to go to the pool to change. Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, and you did that. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, and at some point you contacted them and let him know, in fact, that you had changed. Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, and according to you, he came to the pool area, he sat down on the lounge, and told you to walk back and forth. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, okay, what did you take that to mean? Geronda said, just walk back and forth. Koenig said, okay, and you walked, and did you walk back and forth? And you walked and you did walk back and forth. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, where did you walk? Geronda said, along the pool. Koenig said, and when you were walking, did you walk like model-like? Geronda said, no, I was just regular walking. Koenig said, regular walking. And how many times you walk back and forth? Geronda said, I'm not sure. Koenig said, when you were removing your bathing suit each time you walked back and forth. Hold on. Oh, Koenig said, were you removing your bathing suit every time you walked back and forth? Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, did you do that on your own? Geronda said, at the instruction of Rob. Koenig said, tell me what the instruction was. Geronda said, he told me to walk back and forth and remove my bathing suit as I did. Koenig said, and you did it. Well, you did say to him when he asked you to do this, you told him no. Geronda said, no. Koenig said, did you say I'm going home? Geronda said, no. Koenig said, so you just took off your clothes. Ms. Geddes said, objection! Court said, overruled. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, then according to you, that after what happened, you felt uncomfortable and you told him that you were 16. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, now what about that made you feel uncomfortable to tell him you were 16? Geronda said, I was uncomfortable with the situation. I knew I had lied about my age and I wanted to tell him my age. Koenig said, but you were not so uncomfortable with the situation that you decided that okay, hold on. But you were not so uncomfortable with the situation that you decided, hell no, I'm not taking off my clothes. I'm going home. Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, and this doesn't come about because some law enforcement was at the home looking for a 17-year-old Dominique. Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, that's not the reason you told him that, correct? Geronda said, that's correct. what you're saying. Canick said, now you testified and you told us yesterday that at this point in time, when you were telling Rob your real age, that you showed him your state ID. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Cannon said, how do you recall being arrested and charged for having a bogus... Cannon said, now do you recall being arrested for and charged for having a bogus ID? Geronda said, no. Cannon said, do you recall being arrested and convicted at all? Geronda said, no. Cannon said, never happened, right? Geronda said, I don't recall. Cannon said, do you recall being arrested in Bloomfield, Illinois? Geronda said, no. Cannon said, do you remember where Bloomfield, Illinois is located? Geronda said, I do not. Cannon said, do you know of any city by the name of Bloomfield? Geronda said, I've heard of Bloomfield. Cannon said, but you've never been to Bloomfield. Geronda said, I've never been to Bloomfield. The court said, Mr. Cannick, can I see you and the government for a second? No court reporter necessary. Discussion held off the record. The court, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll take our morning break now. It'll be about 15 minutes. Please don't talk about the case or anything having to do with the case, but I'll see you all in about 15 minutes. Courtroom deputy, all rise. The court exits the courtroom at 10:58 a.m. Okay, y'all. I think I'm gonna leave some of this for Diva. Let me see if she's going live tonight. Let me ask y'all, do y'all want me to keep reading? Or, so we're at page, let me write this down. I'm at page 263. 263. Hold on, let me see. Let me see if Diva going live tonight, y'all. Hold on. Hot dog. Can't reach Diva. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do, y'all. I don't know if Miss Angie gonna go live and read a little bit. Miss Angie, you in the chat? Hold on. We at 263. That's where we left off at. Y'all want me to keep reading? Keep reading? Okay, I'll read some more. Let's get it in. We putting in overtime, y'all. We putting in overtime. All right. Here we go. Let's get back to this. Hold on. 263. All right, let's keep it going. 263. All right. The witness can step down and everybody can sit down. All right. I think that we're going to try and accomplish to fix whatever is going on over here with your connection. And then I just want to make sure that Mr. Cannett's microphone is properly attached. I think Diva paid for transcripts, so let her read some. No, trust me, Tune. It's like 590 pages, bro. If you want 100 pages to read, you can read too. Trust me. Anybody want to read can read. It ain't like that, bro. So, yeah. Miss Angie, was you about to go live? Were you going live, Miss Angie? All right. Thank you, Miss Karen Johnson. Okay. I'll read a little bit more for y'all. All right. So, says here, just I wanted. I think that we're going to try. Okay, so they're going to fix his mic. It says, Ms. Geddes said, that's all right, Your Honor. I wanted to raise with the court that with the defense counsel's line of questioning regarding the witnesses, why she was uncomfortable once she engaged in sexual activity with the defendant, and why she felt the need to explain that she was 16. Okay, I see what she's trying to say now. I see what she's saying. She's saying that the reason why Geronda told him she was 16 was she hoped that would be enough for him to be like, girl, if you don't get your little young ass home. Okay? Miss Angie, you funny. So she said that because obviously I guess she was nervous. And so she probably said that to him, hoping that he would say, girl, if you don't get your little young ass out of here and get home. I think that's what Geronda was hoping he would respond, how he would respond, but obviously he did not. Okay? So let's keep going. Ms. Geddes said, that's all right, Your Honor. I wanted to raise the defense. Okay. One of the reasons I anticipate that she would testify that she felt uncomfortable is because the year before the defendant was on trial for making a recording of an underage female and that, so the court says this is when the judge hopped in and said, I think counsel is aware that the line of questioning will open that door. We had a slight conversation about it at the sidebar, but if that's part of the explanation, it seems like something that's appropriate on redirect. Ms. Geddes said, thank you. The judge said, but anyway, let's be back here in about 15 minutes, all right? Okay, perfect. So all recess in the proceedings was taken. They come back. Ms. Geddes, Your Honor, may we raise one thing briefly before? The court says, let's have the defendant come out first. So Ms. Geddes said, yes, sorry about that. So the court said, I'm assuming we've straightened out the issues with the exhibits and the display. All right. Mr. Koenig said, well, that's what I'm told, Your Honor. Defendant enters the courtroom at 11:24 a.m. Mr. Koenig, the hard copy that we're supposed to get is 15 minutes away. The court, what did you want to raise, Ms. Geddes? Ms. Geddes said, on cross, defense counsel referenced a prior arrest and conviction for using a false ID or something along those lines. The witness does not have a conviction for using a false ID, and therefore, I don't think that's a proper basis for cross-examination. The court said, well, was she arrested for it? Ms. Geddes said she was arrested. She was also not arrested in Bloomfield. She was arrested for shoplifting in Bloomingdale. The court said, in Bloomingdale's, you didn't know what that was? Ms. Geddes said, Bloomingdale, Illinois. The court said, okay, so first of all, an arrest is really not probative. See y'all? Okay, here we go. Do y'all remember when we was reading the paperwork and they said that you cannot use what somebody else, like when they was talking about the girls who had sex before R. Kelly or after R. Kelly, like they can't bring that kind of stuff up because it has nothing to do with the case? Like, what in the hell does her having a shoplifting arrest have to do with even, come on now, this is, ooh, that was a low blow. That was a low blow. Koenig did. I'm glad the doggone government caught it. Okay, so Judge Ann Donnelly says, so first of all, an arrest is really not probative of anything. So I do agree that it's not a proper question. I can't hear you, I'm sorry. Mr. Kennedy said, I just turned it off too. The court said, just to drive me out of my... Boy, this judge is raw. This judge is raw, y'all. She said, oh, you did that just to drive me out of my mind. Mr. Kennedy said, I asked a question. It was a good faith-based question based on the information I had. Waiting for it, she denied it, so I moved on. Ms. Geddes said, as long as we're not going back there, it's fine. The court said, yeah, Ms. Geddes said, yeah, that's fine. I think generally, we're all on the same page about arresting, so it won't happen again, I'm sure. Trying to question. Yeah, they're trying to question her character, Whitney. That's true. All right, I'm sure. All right, anything else before we get the witness? Okay, let's get the witness. So Ms. Geddes said, Your Honor, one other note. When I redirect this witness, I've instructed her not to talk about the trial. Can I have a minute with her or just lead her through it? The court said, when cross is done, how much longer do you have? Kennedy said, maybe an hour and a half. Hot damn. Whoo! The court said, you can't see my... The judge said, you can't see my angst face under my mask. Okay, Mr. Kennedy said, look, it may go faster. Okay? All right, here we go. The court said, look, we won't talk about how loud the music was or whatever. I'm sure it'll be fine. The witness takes the stand, so Geronda comes back out. All right, then it says here that the court, if that's the case, thank you for the cash out, whoever just sent it. If that's the case, that'll take us to about the lunch break anyway. So we'll handle it that way. Of course, no requirement that you go for an hour and a half. Mr. Cannon said, I certainly understand, Your Honor. The court said, all right. And I'm correct that we've remedied whatever the court was with the displaying of your evidence. Mr. Cannon said, I think we have. So I think they fixed his technical issues or whatever. The court said, is that right, Donna? The courtroom deputy said, yes, it is. The court said, okay, I just want to make sure that we all connected. The witnesses here. Let's get the jury in here. A brief pause when the proceedings was held. The court deputy said, all rise. The jury entered the courtroom at 11:29 a.m. So the courtroom deputy says, you may be seated. So the court says, all right, everybody, welcome back. We're ready to continue with the cross-examination by Mr. Canning. Mr. Canning says, thank you, Your Honor. Courtroom deputy says the witness is reminded that she is still under oath. All right, here we go. The witness says, Geronda said, yes, I do. Mr. Canning says, okay. So earlier this morning, you told us that there came a point in time that you told Robert your true age according to you as being 16. Geronda said yes. Canning said, and you told us, well, I asked based on your testimony this morning, you told us that this happened after you had a sexual encounter with Robert. Geronda said, yes. Canning said, and when you said a sexual encounter with Robert, would you describe is that sexual encounter? Geronda said it was oral sex that he performed on me. Canning said, now you testified and told us earlier this morning that you had a number of interviews with the government prior to coming in and giving testimony here. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Canning said, do you recall giving an interview to the government on February 27, 2019? Geronda said, thank you for the cash out. Geronda said, I do not recall the exact date. Mr. Canick said, Your Honor, may I approach the witness and see if it refreshes her recollection? The judge said, sure. He approaches the witness. Mr. Canick, you can hold it. You can hold it and see if it. You can hold it and see it if you need to. I guess he handed it to Geronda. She said yes. So Canick said, so you've had an opportunity to look at the document. Geronda said yes. Canick said, does it refresh your recollection that you had an interview with the government on February 27, 2019? Geronda said yes. And then the government's, I keep saying government. Canick said, now, at that meeting you had on February 27, 2019, would it be fair to say that it was similar to all the other meetings that you had had with the government, wherein there were a number of prosecutors and agents in the room? Geronda said yes. Canick said, and there were folks taking notes. Geronda said yes. And Canick said, and you saw them when they were taking notes. Am I correct? Geronda said yes. Canick said, now do you recall telling during this meeting that you and Robert moved from the pool area to the game room, which is located inside the home, and this was the area that the party was previously held, and that Robert brought in your personal bag with your belongings into the game room, and you were still naked when you guys entered the game room, and you and Robert sat down on the couch? Geddes, objection, Your Honor. The court said, is it to the form of the question? Ms. Geddes said, yes. The court says, it sounds rather compound. Maybe you could break it down. Ms. Geddes said, there's another objection as well. The court said, well, let's start by breaking it down and see if that fixes the problem. Canick said, continue. At that meeting, do you recall telling the government that you and Robert sat down? Hold on. At that meeting, do you recall telling the government that you and Robert is the down on the couch? I don't know if that means sat down on the couch. She said yes. Hold on, let me see what this says. I hate to interrupt, but Lana on the Dream Team have passed a blood clot that traveled to her. Okay, that's crazy. Okay. So after that meeting, do you recall telling the government that you and Robert sat down on the couch? Yes. Canick said, and this was the game room, am I correct? Geronda said yes. Canick said, and it was there, and it was there according to you that you told Robert that you were 16 years old. Geronda said yes. Canick said, and according to you, you removed your identification from the bag and showed it to Robert. Am I correct? Geronda said yes. Canick said, and according to you, Robert told you to tell everyone that you were 19 but act like you were 21. Yeah, prayers up for that sister. I'm not sure who that is. Let me see what you're saying, Miss Angie. You said, oh my God, I hate to interrupt, but Lanai from the Dream Team has passed due to a blood clot that traveled to her heart. She took the shot. I'm not linking the two together. God bless her and her family. I'm not sure. I think I've seen that name before, but God bless her. God bless her family. Says, that's correct. Now, do you recall telling your family, telling your civil lawyers a different story? Geronda said no. Kennedy said, do you recall telling your civil lawyers that Robert told you to tell people that you are 19 but act like you're 25? Geronda said no. Hold on, y'all. Diva the Divine Light.
Yo, what's good? What's good? What's good?
Man, I've been calling you for the last 3 hours, and I got you on live right. You are live right now. You are live on speaker right now. I'm live and you live. So say hi to everybody.
Oh, what's up, y'all? What's up, everybody?
I was wondering if you were. I assume because I knew you were scheduled for like 7:30. I assume things happened and pushed that back.
Yes.
Okay. Were you still planning tonight or not a good night?
What, to read? No, I rescheduled it for tomorrow.
Oh, you did? Okay.
The reading of the book? Yeah, I rescheduled it for tomorrow.
Now, what about the transcript? Because I was going to piece this up with you. You and Miss Angie. I already done started. I'm already at page 270. So, I didn't know,
Page what?
270.
270?
Yep.
So you got 18 more pages to go. Not even, because the rest of the pages is nothing.
Really?
Yeah, so you got like maybe 10 more pages to read and then you're done.
Do you want to read them or you want me to finish them?
No, you might as well finish it, bro. Go ahead. Do you?
Okay.
All right.
I want to chat with you first.
All
All right, sis.
right, well.
Okay, well, bye.
Bye.
All right, y'all. Let's wrap it up. So it says here. Now, you were testifying and telling us that at that meeting, you did not tell them that Rob told you to act like you were 19 and tell folks that you were 19 and act like you're 25. Geronda said, I did not say that. Kenny said, now when you had those meetings with them, were they taking notes? Geronda said, no. Hold on now. Hold on. Let me go back up. I missed something. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay. I'm going back, y'all. I missed something. So we back on page 269. It says, and according to you, Robert told you to tell everyone that you were 19 but act like you're 21. Geronda said, that's correct. Candace said, do you recall telling your civil lawyers a different story? Geronda said, no. Candace said, do you recall telling your civil lawyers that Robert told you to tell people that you were 19 but act like you're 21? Act like you're 25. Geronda said, no. You did tell us yesterday that your lawyer that you were working with was Patrick Condren and Susan Loggins and Associates. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Cannick said, and you did have a meeting with him on February 1st of 2010. Am I correct? Geronda said, I do not recall what date exactly. Mr. Cannick said, my approach again? The court said, yes, approaching the witness. Ms. Geddes, can you let me know what exhibit you're talking about? Mr. Cannick said 3500 material, JP 16. Just look at the document and see if it refreshes your recollection. Geronda said yes. Now when you say yes, does it refresh your recollection that you had a meeting with your lawyers, your civil lawyers, on the Loggins Law Firm, on February 1st, 2010. Geronda said yes. Cannick said, now you're testifying and telling us that at the meeting, you did not tell them that Rob told you to tell folks you were 19 and act like you're 25. Geronda said, I did not say that. Cannick said, now, when you had those meetings with them, were they taking notes? Geronda said, no. Cannick said, tell us how those meetings would go. Geronda said, the meetings with my previous attorneys. Kenneth said, meeting with Patrick Condron and Susan Loggins of the Associates Law Firm. Geronda said, I only had a few meetings with them, but I just went there and told them I wanted to press criminal charges against him originally, and they did not recommend that I press criminal charges against him. What? Hold on. She said, Geronda said, I only had a few meetings with him, but I just went there and I told them that I wanted to press charges against him originally, and they did not recommend that I press criminal charges against him. Kenneth said, okay, now my question to you is, tell us how the meetings went. Did you sit down in that office with them? Geronda said, yes, I did sit in that office. Kenneth said, and they took information from you. Geronda said, yes, they collected evidence from me. Kenneth said, did you ask for a recitation of what your claim was? Geronda said, can you rephrase the question? Kenneth said, did you ask them to explain? Did they ask you to explain why you were there? Geronda said, yes. Kenneth said, and you told them, correct? Geronda said, yes, I did. Kenneth said, and you were telling this jury that they didn't take any notes. Geronda said they did take notes. Kenneth said, did you speak to anyone else? Did they have to speak to anyone else in connection with your claim? Geronda said, I was able to speak with Susan over the phone. Ms. Geddes said, can I have a moment with the counsel? The court, yes. You don't need me, do you? Ms. Geddes said, no. A brief pause in the proceeding was held. Continued on the next page. So, y'all, they did another sidebar. Okay? And God bless that lady's family. God bless that lady's family. Mr. Kanik, the witness was interviewed by a polygrapher. What I'm asking her is, did the law firm have her speak to someone else? Because I'm trying to make sure that I don't open the door about bringing out the polygraph. The court said, I assume she passed it. Mr. Kanik said she passed portions of it. Ms. Geddes said she passed this one. Mr. Kanik said, she said he told her, tell people that she was 19 but act 25. But in a prior inconsistent statement, and I think the way I'm asking it does not open the door by saying to her that they had to speak to someone else. And in fact, you told them this. The court said you already have done that. I don't know to what extent they permitted her to review whatever their report was. Ms. Geddes said she hasn't. The court said, I'm just saying, I think you're bound by her answer unless you get the person in to say that she said it. Mr. Kanik said, well, I'm sure the government will stipulate that. Ms. Geddes said, I don't know about that. Mr. Kanik said, you're not going to stipulate? Then we'll drag them in. The court said the only stipulation would be that whoever it is who prepared the notes at some time afterwards and didn't show them to her, I'm assuming that's what it is. I'm not trying to tell you how to do your business. It doesn't, you ask her a question if she says. Mr. Kanik said, I can get the stipulation because the court said, go with God. Go with God. Okay. Ms. Geddes said, just to be clear, I think you already asked this before. I think we're done. We're moving on from this. I agree. I'm not going to bring in the polygraph based on, excuse me, y'all, based on what you said. In the sidebar conference. Continue to the next page. Okay, so Mr. Canning, earlier this evening, before we took our break, this is Mr. Canning talking to Geronda. He said, early this evening before we took our break, I asked you when you got this autograph from Robert. Okay, cool. I asked you when you got this autograph from Robert, did you in fact stand in front of his tour bus and did not move until you were granted an autograph? You remember me asking you that? She said, yes. Koenig said, I think your answer was no. Is that correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, do you also recall a meeting with the government where you told the government that you and Kiana stood in front of Kelly's bus until they agreed to give you an autograph? Geronda said, I do not recall. Mr. Koenig said, may I approach? The court said, sure. Koenig said, I'm directing your attention to the second highlighted portion in yellow. Isn't it a fact that you and Kiana stood in front of Kelly's bus until they granted you an autograph? Geronda said, we did not stand in front of his tour bus. Koenig said, if the government has that written in their notes in some place, that's an error. Geronda said, if it says tour bus, that's an error. Koenig said, well, did you stand in front of any type of vehicle to get an autograph? Geronda said, in front of a car, yes. Koenig said, in front of a car. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, what kind of a car? Geronda said, I don't recall what kind of a car. But he was in the back of the car. Koenig said, you saw the car with him in the back of the car, am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, had you seen him in that car before? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, where did you see him in that car before? Geronda said, coming to court. Koenig said, you didn't come to court. He didn't come to court in a tour bus? Geronda said, yes, he came to court in a tour bus. And he would get in the car or in an SUV and be dropped off at the courthouse. Koenig said, so you stood in front of that car, am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, you refused to move, am I correct? Geronda said, we did not refuse to move. We waved the car down. Koenig said, if the government wrote in their reports that you and Kiana stood in front of this vehicle until he agreed to give you an autograph, that will be wrong by the government to put that in the report, correct? Geronda said that would not be wrong. Koenig said because that was. It wouldn't be wrong because that's what in fact happened. Am I correct? Geronda said that is incorrect. Koenig said, now, the first day that you went to Robert's home, did you have intercourse with him? Geronda said, no. Koenig said, what happened that day sexually between you two? Geronda said nothing. Kennick said the first day, that's because of the party, correct? Geronda said the first day is the party. Kennick said the second time, did you have intercourse with him? Geronda said, yes, I did. Kennick said, after you had intercourse with him, according to you, he prepared you a drink. Geronda said, yes. Kennick said, and you described that drink yesterday as being delicious, am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Kennick said, after a while you felt a little funny after having a drink, am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Kennick said, you told Robert that? Geronda said, yes, I did. Kennick said, and then he, according to you, escorted you to the room with a mirror, am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Kennick said, you laid down, according to you, in that room until you felt better, am I correct? Geronda said, no. Kennick said, did you eventually leave the room? Kennick said, Kennick leave the room? Geronda said, yes. Kennick said, when you left the room, where did you go to? What's wrong with her? Okay. When you left the room, where did you go to? Geronda said, down to the studio. Kennick said, now this was only the second time that you were at his home. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Kennick said, and the first time you were at his home, you were there for only about less than 30 minutes. Am I correct? Y'all, hold on. Let me go check on the baby. Hold on. Who watching her right now? They left you here with the baby. Why? Okay, y'all. I'm back. All right. Here we go. And the first time you were at his home, you were there for only about less than 30 minutes. Am I correct? She said yes. He said you went to a party.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure I understand.
What in the world? Siri, stop. Okay. Yes. Candace said, you went to a party, and that party was where? Geronda said it was at his home, in the game room. Candace said, and no one during that time gave you a tour of his home. Am I correct? She said that's correct. Cannick said, and when you went there the second time, you were escorted, according to you, by Anthony to the pool area. Am I correct? Geronda said correct. Cannick said, prior to going to the pool area, Anthony did not give you a tour of the house. Am I correct? Geronda said that's correct. Cannick said, is that pool hold on, that's correct. Cannick said, this room, that the mirror room, according to you, is on the first floor. Geronda said, that's incorrect. Candace said, where's the mirror room? Geronda said, the first level of the home. Candace said, the first level of the home. Geronda said, yes. Candace said, how many levels? Geronda said, basement, first level, then upstairs. Candace said, so when you said first level of the home, is that the first floor? Geronda said, no. Candace said, what is the first floor? Geronda said, the first floor would be the basement. Candace said, before this day, you never had any type of tour or orientation of Robert's home. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Candace said, after you were lying in the mirror room for a period of time, you got up and went there. Geronda said, I was taken down to the studio. Candace said, you were taken down to the studio? Geronda said, I was escorted down to the studio. Candace said, who escorted you? Geronda said, Robert. Candace said, Robert escorted you? Geronda said, yes. Candace said, wasn't Robert preparing for a party downstairs? Geronda said, no. Candace said, weren't you in that room by yourself sleeping trying to feel better? Geronda said, no. Candace said, so Robert was in the room with you as you slept in the mirror room? Geronda said, he wasn't in the room the entire time. Geronda said, Candace said, do you recall testifying and telling the jury yesterday under oath? Question. Did you drink the drink? Your answer was, I did drink it. Another question that was given to you was, how did it make you feel? The answer you gave was, it was delicious. It just started feeling a bit ill. And I told the defendant I wasn't feeling well. Question. What happened once you told the defendant you weren't feeling well? Answer. He opened the door to the mirror room and he told me I can lay down in the mirror room. Question. Can you describe the mirror room? Answer. A room where the entire room is just mirror. There's a huge mirror above the bed. Question. What happened once you were inside the mirror room? Your answer was, I just laid down. Another question was, and where, if anywhere, did the defendant go once you were in the mirror room? Your answer was, he told me, well, he was preparing for a party that he was going to have later, so he ended up leaving that room. Question was, where did you go? Answer. About, I wanted to say 10 minutes later, I went downstairs. When you testified under oath to this jury yesterday, you didn't tell them that Robert took you downstairs. Am I correct? Geronda said that is correct. Question. You told them, the mechanic said you told them that you laid there for about 10 minutes and then you went downstairs. Am I correct? Geronda said that's correct. Mechanic said, so when you testified just a short while ago that Robert took you downstairs, you lied, didn't you? Ms. Geddes said, objection. The court said, sustained as to form. Mechanic said, were you telling the truth when you told the jury just a short time ago that it was Robert who took you downstairs? Geronda said, yes. Mechanic said, do you know what the truth is? Oh, gosh. No, he didn't. Auntie Ann told him, Mr. Canick sustained. Mr. Canick said, let's go back to the mirror room. There is a bathroom inside that room. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, and the mirror room has a lock on the outside of the door. Am I correct? Geronda said, I don't recall. Koenig said, it's your testimony that you could just walk up to the door in the mirror room after about 10 minutes elapsed and just open the door and walk downstairs. Geronda said, you can repeat. The court said, rephrase. I didn't understand it either. Rephrase. Koenig said, it's your testimony. So correct me if I'm wrong. You just got up after about 10 minutes, opened the door of the mirror room, and went downstairs. Geronda said, that's incorrect. Koenig said, well, tell me what happened. She said, Robert came to the mirror room and he escorted me down the stairs. Koenig said, did there come a point in time where you left Robert's house to go back to your home that day? Geronda said, the next day I did. Koenig said, what time is it that you left the next day? Geronda said, I'm unsure of the time, but I do remember saying I wanted to go home at 6 a.m. But I'm not sure what time I actually left his house. Koenig said, what time did you arrive at his house? Geronda said, I don't recall the time I arrived. Koenig said, so you were there, according to you, at 16, and you stayed overnight at his house? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, you testified to us at one point you eventually left. Did you alert him that you wanted to leave? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, and how did you do that? Geronda said, through text message and a phone call. Koenig said, what happened? She said, I was able to leave. Koenig said, you were able to leave. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, no one held you there, right? Geronda said, I had to wait to be escorted, but I was able to leave. Koenig said, well, were you given money to take the train? Geronda said, yes, I was given money to take the train back home. Koenig said, how much money were you given? Geronda said, it was $50 in the envelope. Koenig said, and you decided to take the train as opposed to taking a cab? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, well, who was it that came down to give you the envelope? Geronda said, one of the runners came down to give me the envelope. Koenig said, do you know the runner's name? Geronda said, Tom. Koenig said, what did Tom tell you? Geronda said that he was going to take me to the train station, and he handed me the envelope and said it was from Rob. Koenig said, now you testified and told us that Dominique being your friend from a fan club of Rob's. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, this fan club, how long before this date had you been a member? Hold on, y'all. How long before this date had you been a member? She said, since about 2007. He said, would you describe yourself as a super fan? She said, at the time, yes. Koenig said, and what made you a super fan? Geronda said, well, what makes a super fan is somebody that is just like a really big fan of a person's music or whatever they do, and you're just very supportive of it. Koenig said, and that's when you went to the court proceedings in 2008. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, would you categorize yourself as being a groupie? Wow. Really? Really, dude? Geronda said, no, I would not. Koenig said, have you ever considered yourself as being a groupie of Roberts? Government said, objection. Mr. Koenig said, of Roberts. The court said, I'm not sure the distinction. Do you consider yourself a groupie? Geronda said, no. The court said, go ahead. Koenig said, you testified and told us that you eventually introduced Dominique to Robert. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, you have a tattoo of Dominique on your body. Am I correct? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, where's that tattoo? Geronda said, it's on my leg. Koenig said, what is that tattoo? Geronda said, it's a tattoo of a heart that says her full name, and I have a cupcake tattoo, and also a tattoo with me and Dominique's anniversary date. Koenig said, when you say you and Dominique's anniversary date, government says, objection. Court said, overruled. Geronda said, me and Dominique used to date. Didn't know that. That still don't mean that he can still sleep with a freaking underage child. Like, okay, they used to date. So, Koenig said, when was that? Geronda said it started in March 2017 of 2010. Koenig said, you testified and told us yesterday that there came a point in time that Robert took your, I think you said your Pink Palm Central phone. Do you remember telling us that? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, and you told us that the reason why he did it is that he didn't want you to be in contact with anyone. Remember telling us that? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, but you also told us that he, according to you, took the phone and gave you the memory card. Am I correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, and I think you testified to us that he eventually replaced the phone by giving you money to buy another phone. Geronda said, that's correct. Koenig said, how much money did he give you? Geronda said, $250. Koenig said, you bought another phone, a prepaid phone. Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, how much was that prepaid phone? She said, I don't recall the price of it. He said, not $250 though, right? She said, that's right. He said, on the other phone, you use it to contact the very same people. Am I correct that you were contacting before? Geronda said, not all of them. Koenig said, but you contacted Dominique. She said, yes. Koenig said, Kiana? Geronda said, yes. He said, your friend Danica? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, your family members? Geronda said, yes. Koenig said, there are some of the people that you said Rob said he didn't want you to contact. Is that correct? Those are some of the people that Rob said he didn't want you to contact. Is that correct? Geronda said, that's correct. Mr. Koenig said, Your Honor, the government has agreed to, the court says, are you offering some things into evidence? Mr. Koenig said, yes. Ms. Geddes said, no objection. The court, how are you going to be identified? How are they going to be identified? Mr. Koenig said, defense 1, 2, 3. The court said, okay, 1, 2, 3. Canick said yes. The court, okay, why don't you mark them afterwards? Do you have any exhibit stickers, Mr. Canick? Mr. Canick said, okay, Your Honor, I'm going to ask that Robert 1 for identification to be public. The court, defendants 1. Then Mr. Canick said yes. The court, defendants exhibit 1, okay. All right. Canick said you're looking at defendants exhibit for number 1. So y'all, this is what I'm gonna do. So my eyes are getting tired. We've been reading for about 2.5 hours. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start back at page 288 tomorrow. I should come on tomorrow at about probably about 12 or 1. So I will see y'all tomorrow at about 12 or 1. We're going to go on, and we're going to start here. And we're going to keep going unless Diva decides she wants to come on tomorrow and start from 288. Okay? Thank y'all for coming over. I love y'all. Y'all get some rest. Sorry for keep y'all up so late. But we need to read this. It is good to actually read this kind of stuff, y'all, because on the other side, they take so much stuff and they twist it up and they give us, wrong information. So I got to say shout out to Keller. Everybody else who, invest in helping us get this information. Thank you. Okay? Well, listen, y'all. I will holler at y'all tomorrow. About 12 or 1, we'll come on and we'll pick back up where we at. Okay? God bless y'all. Y'all have a blessed night. All right, peace.